The haunting of the cursed doll. In the heart of a quiet, time-forgotten town, a foreboding presence loomed over the landscape. It came in the form of an old, decrepit mansion, its walls coated with dust and despair. Within its confines lay a sinister secret, shrouded in malevolent whispers and chilling tales. The legend revolved around a cursed doll, rumored to possess dark powers and a thirst for innocent souls. Despite the warnings echoing through the streets, some brave souls dared to enter the mansion's gates. None ever emerged unscathed, their minds forever haunted by the horrors lurking within. Amelia, a renowned historian with an insatiable thirst for unraveling the enigmas of the past, was drawn to the mansion like a moth to a flame. Her heart pounded as she approached its ominous gates, knowing full well the tales of its cursed history. Whispers of a wicked doll that had tormented generations resounded in Amelia's mind, fueling her curiosity and fear. The once grand mansion stood in a state of disrepair, its proud facade now marred by years of neglect and the unforgiving hands of time. Amelia's footsteps echoed through the empty hallways. The dust-covered furniture and peeling wallpaper spoke of a life long gone, but something lingered in the air, a sense of foreboding that made Amelia's skin crawl. As she moved farther into the mansion's depths, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was not alone. A cursed doll, known as Agatha, was believed to be a vessel for the tormented spirits of those who had suffered and perished within the mansion's cursed confines. Amelia scoffed at such tales, deeming them nothing more than superstitious nonsense, yet she couldn't ignore the overwhelming sense of despair that seemed to linger within the walls of the foreboding mansion. Amelia's fingers brushed against the spine of a thick, leather-bound book on the shelf, and it suddenly swung open to reveal a hidden chamber behind it. Her heart raced as she stepped inside, drawn by the eerie silence and dimly lit shelves lining the walls. At the far end of the room, a porcelain doll with a hauntingly lifelike face sat upon a plush velvet cushion. Its eyes seemed to follow her every move, its small, painted lips twisted into a sinister grin. Unable to resist its alluring yet unsettling presence, Amelia touched the doll's smooth, cool skin. But as soon as her fingers made contact, her mind was flooded with fragmented memories and visions of past traumas. The doll's whispers echoed in her dreams each night, driving her closer and closer to the brink of insanity. And even in her waking hours, she felt the doll's evil aura seeping into her life, casting shadows upon every facet of her existence. Through her investigation, Amelia uncovered the mansion's sinister past, a legacy of brutality, torment, and unspeakable crimes. The doll, crafted by an anguished artist, served as a vessel for the tortured souls trapped within the mansion's confines. Their vengeful spirits sought retribution and found solace in the doll's twisted form. With each passing moment, the cursed doll's sinister intentions became clearer. Amelia's reality twisted and distorted into a nightmarish maze, where ghostly apparitions lurked in every shadow, their haunting whispers echoing through the empty halls of the mansion. The line between the living and dead blurred as the vile spirit within Agatha clawed at Amelia's mind, seeking to possess her soul and trap her in an endless cycle of inconceivable torment. Amelia returned to the mansion one stormy night, her heart racing as she frantically searched for a way to escape Agatha's deathly grasp. In a last-ditch effort, she uncovered a hidden chamber beneath the mansion, a dark crypt filled with the remains of the domicile's tortured past. With a trembling voice, she recited an ancient ritual, determined to sever the doll's link to the home's vengeful past and the spirits inhabiting it. The air grew thick and Amelia felt icy fingers clawing at her soul. Amelia stood face to face with the cursed doll, surrounded by the agonized souls of the mansion's victims. Their anguished screams echoed through the crypt as she prepared for a fierce battle of survival against Agatha's ungodly grasp. With each strike, Amelia felt the crushing weight of her soul being torn asunder and then painstakingly pieced back together. The sound of her cries reverberated in her ears as she fought to stay whole under the relentless onslaught. Yet, amidst the agony and chaos, there was a faint glimmer of hope that kept her going. Amelia let out a primal scream as she shattered the porcelain doll into countless shards. A jolt of electricity coursed her veins, and in that moment, she understood with terror that her soul was now intertwined with the haunted estate. She had become its sole protector against the evil entities lurking within. Her destiny was inescapable. Amelia sealed the remains of Agatha in the crypt, her mind consumed with fear and guilt. A bound and broken victim of the cursed doll, Amelia was its unwilling guardian for eternity. Whispers and dust. In the pulsing heart of the city where noise and chaos reign, a charming curio shop stands as a relic from another era. I find myself weaving through its winding aisles, each artifact whispering ancient secrets to those brave enough to heed their call. Hidden in a dusty corner, a porcelain doll sits in solemn silence. Her hollow gaze pulls me in, her fragile smile adorning a face brushed with soft hues of pink. A chill slithers down my spine at her sight, yet an irresistible attraction tugs at me. This enchantment proves catastrophic as peaceful nights morph into pages torn from terror tales. It's unclear if it's a haunting or some warped jest at play. From the moment I hold that doll, an eerie feeling swallows me whole. Her cold exterior feels alarmingly animate, and in my dreams, her seemingly innocent grin contorts into a sinister smirk, promising eternal camaraderie. The first night she occupies my space, a faint tapping resonates from her glass case. I try to dismiss it as the typical creaks of the aging edifice, but as the rhythmic tapping amplifies, sleep evades me. I find myself ensnared in a disquieting symphony of hushed whispers and unnerving sounds. Strange occurrences begin too. Every sunrise finds her upright with her head cocked as though observing. At dusk, her empty stare glows ominously as if monitoring every movement within what now feels like a home infested with unseen threats. Fear drives me to investigate this unsettling doll's past, only to discover its ties with some obscure ritual and rumors about housing a lone spirit, longing for perpetual companionship. What could be done? My attempts to appease her by presenting gifts and recounting tales at twilight seem sensible enough. The tapping halts, but then comes this petrifying silence, until one dreadful night when pandemonium prevails. I awaken to laughter, a spine-chilling fusion of innocence and malevolence that echoed through my apartment. It seems to dance across the ceiling, her painted teardrop resembling a bloody slash against her ghostly skin. In sheer terror, I decided to put an end to this once and for all. If it's companionship she craves so desperately, then oblivion would be her ultimate companion. The doll is cornered, ready to be broken, but as I lift my arm, all I can see is this lonely spirit trapped in porcelain, its painted tear glistening with a fear that mirrors my own. That's when it dawns on me. This isn't about exorcising but freeing the spirit. Shaking yet filled with surprising empathy, I light a fire for its final journey. As the flames consume the doll, her laughter transforms into pitiful cries before vanishing into nothingness. Even though she no longer exists, the ordeal leaves an indelible scar. The whispers from the curio shop now carry a new caution about tampering with things best left alone. Indeed, there's only a thin line between toy and terror, and crossing it could demand a price beyond one's most terrifying nightmares. The Dollmaker's secret. Hidden within the depths of a quiet and abandoned village, there stood a small and dilapidated shop. Those brave enough to enter did so with unease, for the shopkeeper was a hermit, and the dolls she created were known to be hauntingly eerie. Megan strolled through the quaint village one moonlit night. She navigated the winding, overgrown path that led to a mysterious shop. She approached the small cottage at the edge of town and saw a sign that read Dollmaker in faded letters. The locals had warned her to stay away, but her journalistic instincts pushed her toward the door. The door creaked open, revealing a hooded figure who emerged from the shadows. Inside, she saw shelves lined with delicate dolls, each one seemingly watching her with their glass eyes. The shopkeeper's voice was barely above a whisper as she revealed her creations to Megan, including a doll with an exquisitely detailed porcelain face. However, as Megan reached for it, she couldn't help but feel a sense of unease as its lifelike eyes seemed to follow her every move. Despite her hesitation, curiosity got the better of her, and she accepted the doll from the shopkeeper's outstretched hand. Later that night, Megan's fingers trembled as she carefully lifted the doll from its makeshift display on her desk. She studied every inch of its porcelain face, searching for any clues that might unravel the mysterious stories surrounding it. With a small screwdriver, she pried open the doll's back, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside was a fragile journal, its yellowed pages filled with spooky sketches and handwritten notes signed by Eleonora, the Dollmaker. Megan's heart raced as she delved deeper into the secrets contained within. Megan was completely enthralled by the haunting tales of vengeance and retribution within the pages of the worn journal. Eleonora had carefully crafted each doll with a purpose, to seek out and expose the darkest secrets of their owners, secrets that could be used to manipulate and control. The power she held over those unsuspecting souls was sinister and twisted, yet Eleonora reveled in the torment she inflicted upon them. Megan shuddered as she imagined the fear and pain the dolls must have caused to those who encountered them. It was a chilling thought, but one that she couldn't tear herself away from. As Megan sifted through piles of documents and photographs, a faint murmur tickled her eardrums. She whipped around to find the room empty, yet the whispers persisted. She watched in disbelief as her pen rolled off the desk on its own accord, and fleeting glimpses of dark figures darted across the dimly lit room. And then there was the doll, once just a lifeless decoration. Now it seemed to exhale and inhale with a sinister energy. In a moment of terror, Megan slammed the creaky wooden drawer shut, trapping the porcelain doll inside. The room fell silent, but Megan still heard faint whispers coming from the doll's lips. She knew she had to confront the creepy Dollmaker and find out the truth behind the haunting dolls. The next night, Megan returned to the dimly lit shop. Eleonora was waiting for her, her voice just as chilling as before. With each word, she revealed the horrifying truth. Eleonora had captured the souls of her tormentors and trapped them in her dolls, using them to seek revenge and reveal their darkest secrets. A wave of terror washed over Megan as she realized the innocent-looking doll in her hand held the tormented soul of a cruel, long-dead man. Its whispers were laced with malice, and its true purpose was revenge. Eleonora, the Dollmaker, offered a chilling ultimatum: return the doll and forget the horrors it had revealed, or join her in crafting more dolls that would haunt the living. Troubled by the memories, Megan decided to flee from the village. While she raced toward safety, a lingering presence seemed to follow her every move. Despite her efforts, she couldn't shake off the doll's icy grip, and its whispers echoed in her mind, serving as a constant reminder of the haunting secrets that would plague her forever. She vowed to never set foot in that cursed village again, where the twisted creations of the Dollmaker continued to torment anyone who ventured near. Eternal Love Doll. Nestled in our town was a shop, a labyrinth of times past and memories discarded. Picture antiquities shrouded in dust and treasures swallowed by the sands of time. Amidst this chaos, one artifact seized my attention, an exquisite porcelain doll perched on a lofty shelf. Its craftsmanship was remarkable, yet it sent chills down my spine. Despite the shopkeeper's eerie tales about it, I found myself irresistibly drawn to this doll, as if guided by some unseen force. So home with me it went. That's when the peculiarities began. In my dreams, whispers would dance, alluring yet terrifying. They pledged eternal loyalty and love, transcending death while sowing seeds of dread and isolation within me. That doll seemed to keep its glassy gaze locked onto me, like a predator tracking its quarry. Slumber turned into an arena as I spent countless nights under its unblinking stare. The whispers grew more intense and malevolent over time, almost demonic. It felt as though an invisible trespasser had invaded my sanctuary, choking me with its insatiable thirst for adoration and control. Fearful yet intrigued, I set out to unravel the history of this seemingly innocuous doll. What I discovered was pure horror. The doll wasn't merely a plaything. It sheltered a wicked spirit that warped love into something grotesque and unquenchable. The carving on its back wasn't about affection. It was a trap. In sheer terror, I attempted to obliterate the doll, but it resisted. With bone-rattling whispers and visions of devastation that clarified one thing: I was bound to it for life. It took every fiber of bravery within me to finally shatter it, ceasing my perpetual nightmare but leaving behind an everlasting sense of fear. To this day, years later, memories of that damned doll continue to haunt me. Every time I see a porcelain figurine or hear the slightest whisper in the quiet, a cold shiver races down my spine. It's a stark reminder of a chilling truth I unearthed. Certain promises are safer when shattered, and transactions with obscure entities come at a significant cost. Then one day, out of the blue, a familiar whisper echoed around me, this time real and not just in my sleep. Missed me? My heart sank like a stone as I realized that the doll had reappeared. The broken fragments had inexplicably pieced themselves back together, and its influence seemed stronger than before. The horror was not over. It was merely beginning anew. The Curse of the Raggedy Doll. At the corner of Main Street and Maple Avenue, the old town clock chimed 12 o'clock. The streets were deserted except for a lone antique shop, its windows covered in cobwebs and grime. Inside, among shelves upon shelves of forgotten trinkets and knickknacks, sits a dilapidated doll with chipped porcelain skin and lifeless eyes, its once vibrant dress now faded and tattered. It watches visitors pass by, longing to be taken home once again. Years ago, in a dusty corner of the antique store, a young girl named Emily stumbled upon a doll. It was a ragged sight to behold, but she couldn't resist its melancholic charm. She begged her mother to purchase it, unaware of the sinister secrets it held. From the moment Emily brought the doll home, strange things began to happen. Whispers echoed through the empty house. Shadows danced in the corners of her room, and the doll itself seemed to move of its own accord. Her parents dismissed her fears as childish imagination, but Emily knew better. The doll's presence was palpable. She felt its malevolent aura seeping into her very being. One night, Emily was jolted awake by a weight on her chest. Her heart raced as she saw the doll's plastic limbs digging into her skin. Its once lifeless eyes glowed bright red and its mouth twisted into a sinister smile. A chill ran down Emily's spine as the doll spoke in a raspy voice that sounded like the whispering of ghosts. "Play with me, Emily," it demanded. A blood-curdling scream erupted from Emily's room, splitting the quiet of the night. Her parents bolted out of bed and rushed to her side, only to find her curled up under the covers, shaking uncontrollably. The porcelain doll sitting on her bookshelf just hours before was gone without a trace. Emily's parents brushed off her claims of a haunting presence, but they couldn't ignore the change in their daughter. She grew more anxious and fearful with each passing day, constantly feeling a cold hand on her shoulder or hearing whispers in her ear. The doll's hold on Emily grew stronger, and she knew she had to do something before it consumed her completely. Branches snapped and leaves rustled beneath Emily's feet as she ran through the dense woods near her home. She thought she heard her name being called, but she couldn't be sure. Following the sound, her heart raced with a mix of fear and excitement until she emerged into a small clearing. In the center stood a familiar figure, the Raggedy doll that had disappeared from her room the night before. Emily shuddered and took a step back, unsure if she should approach or run away. The porcelain doll hissed her name, its once innocent face twisted into a sinister sneer, and its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. "Let's play," it whispered. "We can play forever." Emily's scream echoed through the densely packed trees, her voice swallowed up by the vastness of the woods. The porcelain doll's fingers tightened around her wrist, its painted eyes seeming to bore into her very soul. As the sun rose the next morning, Emily's lifeless body lay in a small clearing among the twisted roots and fallen leaves. Her face was frozen in a mask of terror, as if she had seen something unimaginable in those final moments. But the most eerie part? The doll was gone, leaving no trace behind. Its whereabouts remain a chilling mystery, haunting anyone who dares to enter those woods. The townspeople speak in hushed tones of a deadly curse, of a vengeful spirit bound within the doll's lifeless shell. They steer clear of the antique shop, terrified of the malevolent force existing in its very foundation. But the doll remains inside that antique shop on the corner of Main Street and Maple Avenue, its soulless gaze fixed on the shadows, longing to be taken home again and hungering for another innocent victim to trap for eternity. Haunted by a doll. Harper, my beloved child, once radiated joy and laughter like a sunflower basking in the summer sun. Then came a gift, an exquisite porcelain doll with intricate designs and artistry that could steal your breath away. The moment Harper cradled it in her arms, it felt as though shadows had swallowed the room whole. Her infectious laughter evaporated, replaced by an eerie silence that raised the hair on my neck. She'd sit there whispering soft secrets into its ceramic ear for hours, a truly unnerving sight. As days turned into weeks, Harper's interaction with this unsettling plaything took a turn for the bizarre. Whispers evolved into full-blown conversations. I would find myself lingering outside her door, straining to decipher strange sounds emanating from within, and under the ghostly glow of moonlight seeping through her window. I'd stake my life on it. I saw that doll's lips twitch and its eyes flutter. One attempt at confiscating the doll resulted in Harper emitting a scream so shrill our house nearly trembled. Her usually bright eyes darkened like storm clouds brewing, and she transformed before me, a drastic change that nearly stopped my heart. In desperation, we sought assistance from a woman well-versed in paranormal phenomena. One glance at the doll and she declared it was siphoning off Harper's innocence, turning her sweet dreams into ghastly nightmares. We performed an elaborate ritual involving mirrors and salt crystals to sever their chilling bond. That night was plucked straight from a horror novel. Sinister shadows waltzed across our walls while an unholy light ignited within the doll's glassy gaze. It felt as if Harper was a marionette manipulated by unseen hands. Finally covering the doll with a salt-soaked cloth caused it to disintegrate into dust, leaving only an acrid stench in its wake. We clung to each other, drained and weary, as Harper wept her way back to reality. But even after we thought the doll's influence was eradicated, a lingering sense of unease pervaded our home. Occasionally Harper's expression would go blank, her eyes wide with terror, a chilling echo of that cursed porcelain figure. Though it was now mere dust, its spectral presence seemed omnipresent. One night, huddled under blankets seeking solace from past events, we heard a sound, a giggle eerily reminiscent of Harper's but distorted into something malevolent. My heart plummeted because I had an epiphany. The entity hadn't vacated our lives, it had merely selected its next prey, me. Unfinished Dollhouse. Elara, at a precocious 10 years old, stumbled upon an eerie and forgotten attic. Cobwebs clung to every corner and a Victorian dollhouse stood as the only inhabitant. As she dusted off the decaying wallpaper and rearranged the furniture, she realized that this miniature world mirrored her own, with a menacing cat prowling the halls and parents who seemed more worried by the day. But when the dollhouse's sinister influence started to seep into reality, Elara's fear turned to terror and she smashed it with all her might. It was too late. The dollhouse, once a mere toy, now revealed itself as a dark omen of her tormented existence. A creation of her twisted mind, it foretold the monstrous reality that consumed her. She could no longer deny the sinister truth staring back at her, a mirror image of her depravity. Dances with dolls. In a dimly lit antique shop, I was drawn to a set of cryptic porcelain dolls, each clutching a warning, "Beware the moonlit dance." Their mystery prompted me to buy them. That night, under the moon's pale light, their joyful faces warped into grotesque sneers. They encircled me, their shadows stretching into monstrous forms while an eerie tune filled the room. The melody became a ghostly hymn as their faces split open, revealing glowing coals and skeletal structures before they vanished into the darkness. The last doll turned its head toward me and said in an ancient voice, "The dance needs a participant. It's your turn." My scream was swallowed by sinister laughter as invisible hands drew me into an eternal midnight waltz beneath the watchful eye of the moon.